Hey everyone, this is the most important video I put out in a long time because of everything that's been going on and where we sit right now. This is huge, okay? Definitely watch it because you're going to have some crucial decisions to make. But I do think this. We have reason to believe that we can cover everybody in DML by the end of the year 10 times over. So by Christmas, you'll have plenty of money coming in. And all the guys who got in on the website Flipping Club, I'm converting you into positions like this. Why? Because Google changed the old way of doing things. No more how many ounces in a cup questions, how many slices in a pizza questions. That doesn't cut it. Google changed that. Generative AI, all that jazz. They want subjective content, but what we found, and it's working extremely well, so this is in line with what Google wants anyway, is lead sales to companies. Having said that, anyone who looks up the stats, pay per call, the industry of companies not having time to keep up with SEO, so they give up trying. They just can't do it. So what do? They either pay per lead, which hurts. You know, Google ads, Facebook ads, expensive, especially because of all the click fraud, and it's getting worse out there with click fraud. It's crazy. And that's because, you know, Google wants to keep up with Apple and OpenAI and NVIDIA and everybody else on stocks, Boston Dynamics and stuff. And so they are doing their best to keep their money flows up to show the stockholders how much cash you're taking in. But I mean, they're pushing the edge of the envelope when it comes to the level of fraud that happen out there. Anyway, it crimps the guys who are trying to buy the leads. It hurts them, whether they're plumbers, whether they're electricians, house painters, carpet cleaners, whether they're lawyers, whether they're dentists, right? Everybody paying for leads is painful. So they want to rank organically, but they don't have a clue how to do that stuff, right? That's really beyond their realm. That's all SEO. So we got in there, and if you've seen my last videos, you see that we're hitting it hard. We understand how to get the leads to the sites. We understand how to make the sites rank enough to do. And I'm going to go over some numbers very shortly that are going to blow your mind because I want you to understand what we're stepping into, okay? And be able to assess the risk right here, right now in this video. It's really amazing. So here's the thing. When you're claiming positions, you're claiming an industry and a location, we're setting up the websites. They have phone numbers on them. What's the idea of the phone numbers? Well, they could point any number of places. They could point to specific clients, right? But those clients may not know the calls are coming. And then when you call and tell them that you don't even know if they're calling through, okay? We'll make the websites, put the phone numbers on them, but then a lot of the calls that go through, we don't see that because not everyone has to click a phone number, okay? So we can't just charge that way by sending the call right to the end guy. So if we're going to try to make charges properly for the number of leads we're sending anybody, we have to send the phone number to a forwarding phone number that sends to them and then record the call in the middle. But what if you have 10 clients? You're going to get 10 forwarding phone numbers and scan through them all day. Okay, that's kind of a pain. Here's the bigger thing though, two parts. The leads that go calling through aren't even necessarily good leads. Many of them won't be. And that also is a pain in the neck for the people on the other end. They have to talk through 3, 4, 5 bad leads maybe. Usually 4 before they get a decent guy. So they have to have like 5 conversations to get one good sell. So what do they want from somebody who's selling them leads? They don't want to pay $200 times 5 leads. That's $1,000, okay? They get exhausted talking to a bunch of guys who are going to waste their time before they get through to a good guy. They would rather pay $1,000 for one conversation with a diehard solid lead. That way they don't get exhausted. They don't wonder if maybe they could have said it differently while they're tossing and turning in the middle of the night through a handful of leads they lost, right? They just know that the guy they were assigned to is ready, willing, and able, okay? Really solid lead. They may or may not buy, but at that point it's up to the company. It's not up to us. The company's job is to convert them. We don't have any say in that. All we do is sell them the leads that are good. We got the leads in place. It's up to them to sell them, and they know that. Now, let me step back and say this for those of you who are wondering. Pay per call, the industry, is about $12 billion a year right now and rising. That's $12 billion in leads that companies pay for. That's a lot of money. And it's growing at about 16% per year, okay? It's a lot of growth. Now, we understand why. It's because SEO is complex, ads suck, Being able to get pre-qualified leads, the pay-per-call industry, and get those guys to call in. Big companies love that. They don't have to stress the marketing. They can leave it up to the marketers to do. And some of those companies have 2, 3, 4, 5 different marketing channels to get all the leads they can from each. So even if one lead source isn't getting them enough to live on, it's one of a few different options they have that are feeding them lead sources collectively. They have their on weeks and their off weeks on a bunch of these channels, but it adds up to a whole, right? So companies are not surprised to think in terms of, I'll get some leads from you, some leads from you, some leads from you, some leads for you. Just make sure, that's what they want, that the leads are decent. And they have a lot of trouble with that. They're paying for a lot of fraud. They have guys who are costing them clicks and they have no idea why they don't even call, right? Some places, maybe it's just very loosely oriented and the phone numbers belong to some other companies before they were forwarded to them. So those phone numbers, when people call the phone numbers, they think they're calling wherever the phone number was forwarded before, like a bakery. I mean, it could be anyone, right? Wherever the phone number was pointing before. And so that's a problem with forwarding phone numbers sometimes, is that many of the calls coming through were meant for someone else. All right, let me continue. I mean to say that you're going to be utterly excited by the end of this video about the options and about how we're taking care of everyone. So please put up with me kind of rambling my way through it because there's just a lot. And I want to make sure that no matter where you're from, that you're keeping up and you can make good decisions, crucial decisions about what you're going to do. So here's what it is. AI now has cold callers that can call better than humans. Sound like perfect British male voice of somebody who's probably around 45 years old, calling in and discussing the options. Those of you who went through that demo call, you saw that. And even if he's talking to you about the car accident you had, very sympathetic, empathetic, has a checklist, he gets through the checklist. Make sure you didn't already have an attorney representing you before. How long ago was the accident? Where? Who was at fault? Was somebody else in the car? Blah, blah, blah. So all of this is awesome. So not just the cold calling, but the pre-call and customer service, right? Just if say one of our clients, in our case, like a DUI lawyer, calls in, right? And they want to say, hey, I was taking 5 leads a week and I was capping at 5 leads a week. I'd love to up that to 7 leads a week. They can tell that to AI. AI can say, thanks, noted, we've got it. We're going to move you from 5 leads a week to 7 leads a week, starting when? Next week. Okay, great. Confirmed. You're good to go. And the AI goes into the guy's record in the customer database, client in this case, and makes that adjustment, which in our case totally affects the way our leads trickle through because it's based on looking up those numbers, figuring out how many have been accounted for by company and taking care of it. Okay. We have all the infrastructure set up. We've done everything except for what? Well, I never cold call, right? I'm not the cold calling type. I don't cold call. Then aside from that, we never pre-qualified leads, which really raises the value of the leads and makes them absolutely indispensable for companies, especially if they're priced right. Well, they're priced right for 2 reasons now. One, we're getting them organically. We're not paying per click. That's huge, right? That's huge. Because if we were paying per click and going through ads, we'd also have to deal with the click fraud. We would have to price the click fraud into the sales of the leads. The leads would just be another source, but they wouldn't be a cheaper source. We don't have that problem. We can sell the leads cheaper so we can undercut the competition or at least become a second marketing stream. Maybe with the click fraud, they can get as many leads as they want in a day. It's just stupid expensive, so they have to consider how much profit they're going to be able to swing out of it, right? They don't want to go over the top on the costs, right? So they might be marginalizing in some leads from us where we're getting not as many to them per day or week. But the fact that we get them any, say we get them a lead a week, right? At $500 for a lead, instead of the 1,000 they're paying for a lead right now over there. Maybe they could get 5 a day for 1,000, but they're happy to get 1 a week from us for 500. They love to get 2 a week from us for 500, but 1 is at least something. It's great. It's a benefit to them, right? The more we can send them, the less they need that. So they're hoping that this will happen over time, right? That they can switch from one to the other, where we're charging them less and getting them quality leads, and they can drop the stupid click fraud fears, right? They can lower their budgets on the ads, right? That probably makes sense to you, right? They're going to be hungry in the here and now. They have to get the leads now, but they're going to try to marginalize into our world. Okay. Now, having said that, where do I want to go next? There's so many places to go. Okay. We want to get back to this. And I want to make this point too. In the pay-per-call industry, like I said, $12 billion a year and rising, 16% growth and rising per year right now. That is so that the companies don't have to tackle it themselves. They can just buy the leads from us, and they're happy if they can get quality leads for a better price, and then just let us work our way up the ladder and get that to happen more often for them. Then they can buy in larger stacks. Here's the second part. Companies prepay for leads. That is the norm. $12 billion worth of lead sales through the industry. $11.5 billion were from companies who paid first and then got the leads whenever they came in. They're so used to it. Everybody knows what that is now. All the companies have been approached by at least somebody who sells them leads. And usually they're either not pre-qualified or they are, or they're expensive. They might be getting a very similar service from somebody else, but the leads cost twice as much as we can get them for. Because here's the second reason we can get them cheap. Not just that we're doing it organically, but we don't need humans to pre-qual the leads. We can use AI to pre-qual the leads. Now, what about if the other companies switch to AI? Well, they're still not ranking organically. So they're still paying for the freaking rising click fraud. So even if they could give them a bit of a buffer because they switched to AI instead of humans, they're still not going to be able to compete with the fact that we can do these websites, right? And I've talked to some of these guys over SEO stuff. I am flabbergasted how not smart they are. And, you know, it's not about IQ, it's about exposure. I will explain something to you guys soon, and it'll blow your minds. Okay. When we come to this, what do we need to do? We need to cross a threshold. We have to get from not having that system to having that system that can cold call out through the list of lawyers and see who wants to prepay for leads from us. Then we'll build in their area the way we built in other areas, and we can show them screenshots and stuff and our history and stuff, and they can see we're a real company and that we've been here a long time. I mean, we've got so much to show. It's not funny. Companies will be happy enough to say, okay, I'll dare, I'm in. And we got 2 package prices to kick it off. So you can write these down if you want to keep this clear in your head. 5 leads at $500 each. That's $2,500 down. Or 10 leads at $400 each. $4,000. That's great. That means their second batch of leads, if they paid $500 for these, would be $300 for those. So they can always choose which way they want to pay. 5 leads, $2,500. 10 leads, $4,000. Why are they prepaying? Because we need to know if we're going to build in their area, how many websites we need to build. Are 2 guys appearing and paying for the small package? Or are 25 guys appearing and paying half for the small package, half for the large? How many leads do we need to deliver every week? What are we building up to, right? So we need these numbers before we can start really expanding a program in their area. How big is that program going to be? Small, medium, or large, right? We can always add to it if it's small. But the reality check is it won't be small. People are starving for leads. They're paying for click fraud, and they freaking hate it. Okay. And AI just made our leads so much cheaper anyway. So we need to get the system that'll allow us to do the cold calling. Couple of things to that system. We can come in as low as 20K. We can come in as high as 120K. The higher you go, right? And that's what I was explaining in previous videos, especially the last one, the better it is. Because the bigger the server, the more the RAM, the more the storage space, and the more phone lines you can add without lag. Without that horrible, horrible lag that can make or break a call. Okay? When you have long lag, a lot of people kind of hang up. They don't know what happened, they hang up. They're not really convinced yet because somebody called and said their name or asked if it's their company or whatever and said, how are you doing? They answered. Then there's a long silence. Perfect time to hang up. But if your server's big enough to handle as many phone numbers as you want to run at the same time, okay, then what? You don't have that kind of lag. You have very minor lag. It's just the system processing what to say next, processing what to say next. And what do? In the scripts, you have it say something very short first, like good, okay, no problem, I understand. That way, it could say something short. It was able to say something short while it contemplates what it's going to say next. Buy some time. So it's saying it while it's thinking. Anyway, this stuff is only going to get better as we go. But we're going to be here right now this week. We're going to roll this over. Now, and why? I don't even want to think about how expensive these systems can get later with the kind of money they're starting to generate now. It's just the industry's so young. They're still trying to grow. So they haven't raised their prices to be elitist. They're still at a point where we can get to them. Like $100K for a full server is nothing. $120K, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, I think I'll start there. Okay. Say you're going to call out, okay, and you're talking. And let's say each call is going to be, I don't know, a few minutes each. And then with that, you're going to call for like an hour in the morning, then an hour in the evening, okay? So let's say you make a call, like the equivalent length of time of a call would be what? Like 5 minutes. Then you can make 12 calls in the morning, 12 calls in the evening. It's 24 calls, 25, whatever. And so you would say, how long does it take to get through like 70 or 75 clients? Well, like 3 days, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you call 25, 25, 25, you're done. Okay, for sure. Out of that, some of those guys said, okay, I want to buy. I'll buy this package or that one. Some of those guys said, sorry, no way. Some of those guys hung up. And some of those guys did what? They said, I think I want to buy, but I'd love to talk to a live person first. Get some questions answered. No problem. I love inbound calls. I take inbound calls all the time. Very comfortable with those. I can man that. I can teach other guys to man that as we expand. Now, that's one phone number though. So we can make a sale about every 45 minutes if you do the math on the number of minutes, because the bots don't need to take a break. They're going to call. And so we can make a sale or get like a couple of guys on the calendar every 45 minutes. Isn't that neat? That's like 2 or 3 sales a day, either at the $4,000 level or the $2,500 level. Okay. And we were doing the math on that. Now, in order to make a lot more money, bigger server, add more phone numbers. You can't just add more phone numbers. You need a bigger server. You're making a mistake. You're going to just turn everyone off. So, what now? As we raise the cash for this, how fast can this stuff happen with our new plan? Okay, here's what's going to be. Let me explain to you from the point of view of something like this, okay? And I want to explain the benefit right now. So here's what it is. I need you guys to go in and get positions, which this time is not going to be used for me to build the websites. You're getting the positions. I want you to do DUI lawyer, okay? So start from the bottom of the DUI lawyer stack and go up, or start from the top and go down, or start in the middle, wherever your budget lets you fit. Now, this is scary until you start to hear where this is going. Like I said, make sure to watch the whole video. Don't just break off in the middle. Here's the point. Because there are a lot of crucial decisions to make. You're also going to be like, what if I already have positions and stuff? Okay? So here's the point. For every 1,000 that you pay in, okay? For every amount of money that you pay in, I'm going to pay you double back from pre-sold leads, which means within a week, okay? Usually. And here's why. We call companies, they commit to pay, we send them the agreement, they sign it, send it back, we send them the invoice, and they pay it and send it back. Could be in a day, could be in a few days. Could be that some companies say when we make our next round of payments out, that's included in the process. Okay, that could be, right? So I'm going to assume that we're going to collect your monies on a weekly basis. Now, it could be faster, it could be a few days, which would be a huge advantage to you. And I'll explain why shortly. One step at a time. Now, when you pay for a county, that's going to assume a certain amount of payments necessary to pull off the job, right? Well, we're going to call out. We're going to land some deals. We're going to be able to build the websites. What has to happen? For every 1,000 you spend, if I'm going to pay you double back, that's 2,000 I have to collect. If I have to collect 2,000, then how much more do I need to collect to do the job for that one guy? If it's one guy. Because if you're only paying 1,000, that's not even, we don't even have a county that's small, okay? Smallest county is 3,000, okay? 350,000, all right? It's over $3,000, okay? That's as small as it gets in the DUI lawyer realm. Having said that, I would owe you 2,000, in this case, I would owe you 6,000 back. Here's what I mean. For every 1,000, I owe you 2,000 back. Plus, say I got another 500. In other words, the lowest package, 5 leads for $500 each is 2,500. Say one guy pays for that, okay? For every 1,000 you spend. So then you get 2,000 back and I got $500 left over. What can I do with $500? The websites I need to build cost $75 each, all in, everything. When I'm building at this level of efficiency, okay? I like to say 150 because it allows us extra money to build a second layer, which acts as a security layer. But I only need one sale per $1,000 you spend to pay you back double back and still do the job for the client. So what's going to happen this week is when you pay for positions, instead of putting this money into websites, we put it into calls to companies in the area looking to land the deals. And we offer them 2 price points. 10 leads at $400 each, 5 leads at $500 each. Take your pick. Then they pay in. Out of that, we're able to pay you double back. And then we take the rest of the money to do the work. Now there's a second layer we're going to go through the following week. For all the guys who said no, okay, a number said yes. Do you remember how we broke it down? 20, 60, 20, the percentages? In any industry, in any location, usually the 20% of guys at the top don't need us at all one way or the other. They're set. Then there's 60% of the guys in the middle who kind of need us. Some weeks they need us more than other weeks. Some weeks they don't, but they're off and on. They're back and forth. So a number of them will say, you know what, I want to tie that income stream in no matter what. And some of these guys could easily say that too. It depends on what they're paying per lead, but I'm assuming they won't. 60% here, 20% at the bottom is pretty desperate for leads. So if we assume 1 in 3 of the desperate guys get interested, and then like 1 in 5 of the middle guys get interested, then that's huge. For example, I'm kind of doing this so that you get these numbers in your head and it makes perfect sense. Say you come in at this level for San Francisco. What did I tell you? I told you there's 70 lawyers there, right? There's actually more. The system, like Yellow Pages says 160. Let's just assume 120, okay? We can call through 120 different people when you make this call. How many do we need to close? For every 1,000 you spend, I need to close 1. So how many do I need to close? 8. Out of 120? That's like 6.5%, right? That's not even the 20% of desperate guys. That's not even half of the 20% of desperate guys, let alone everyone else. And that's assuming the smallest package. I mean, if half of the guys buy the bigger package, it's not even 8 that I need. It's more like 5 or 6, because I would need what? I would need to get double back plus another half. So take that number and multiply by 2.5. Okay? I'm just really helping with the math here so that all of this makes sense. 7654.36. Some of you guys might actually be sweating because you kind of know where I'm going with this. 7654.36 times 2.5 equals, boom. So if we divide that by, let's say the average size that people buy is somewhere between the 4K and the 2,500, maybe a little more towards the 2,500. Let's say, yeah, we're doing divided, right? By like, 3,250, okay? Something like that. Even 3,000, but whatever. You're only talking about like 6. 6 sales that need to happen, okay, to cover that whole thing for you to get double back and me to still have enough money to do the work at that level. You know, that bigger level of buyers, right? That's going to happen. Now, our second round, right, which I say isn't part of the profit concept, is part of the underlying security concept, is what? We're going to go back through, and whoever didn't buy the first time, we're going to offer them the equivalent of a basic lead a month, $500 a month. Okay, that'll be an accrual for their total leads. You know, if they come in once every other month, and that's 2 leads, they get free every other month, whatever. The point is, by paying $500 a month, they're in on the loop. They'll get notifications about the leads that match, you know, pre-quals in their area. Okay, and they can choose if they want to buy one, which they'll buy full price, right? Normal price, $500. But they're paying $500 to be in on it, okay? And that gives them 1 lead free. So it's actually paying per lead. Okay, we'll go back through. So we might get 10 guys on that or 20 guys on that, whatever it is. Okay, what is the point of all that? To ensure that the websites are kept up. To make sure all the websites, all the calls, everything, all the deliveries, all the Twilio fees, everything is paid for. Okay, so that, and if we need to get guys doing some extra work on them, putting them in directories and stuff, whatever, they can do that. Now, this is going to strike you as wild, because when you think about how well does this need to work really in the end, I'm going to share something with you that I was so surprised when I talk to people and they don't even conceive of this. It's amazing to me, okay? So don't share this with anyone. The locksmiths, right? You guys have heard me talk about them. What do? We build them 7,000 websites, okay? 7,000 websites, and they made millions. How many leads did each website get on average, right? These are 7,000 spread across the nation. Big cities, small cities, might be like 40 in Atlanta, 70 in Denver, or whatever. 70 in Atlanta, 40 in Denver. The way it was all broken down. How many leads did they each get on average per month? 7. 7. Not 2 a week. 7. How many leads is that? 49,000. Let's say half of those make the call. I mean, if they're looking through locksmith websites, they're motivated to make the call. They will dial the number, right? Let's say half of them did that. We're going to divide by 2. We're going to say, and this is by the month, we're going to say they make $75 per sale, which is what they make. You see the amount of money they make per month, you know, minus their expenses. Maybe their expenses are this part. This is the leftover profit that comes off of it, some crazy amount of money like this. And they paid $180,000 over 2 years to get this built, and they can make more than that much every month. You know, they bided their time. It took a couple of years to get to a point where we had a system this powerful, right? That was a long time ago. Now, what's that mean? Let's think about how much things can cost. Let me use this example. $150,000 for 100 websites. Divided by 100 websites. It's $1,500 a website, right? Well, let's think about this. Let's say each of those 100 websites gets a lead a month that turns into a sale. Say the sale's worth $500 and there's a profit split. It's $250 a month per site. Well, we got 100 sites in play, huh? $25,000 a month. Say it took 3 months to build it up, and then we're going to make the money off the remaining 9 months for the year, because that's the duration of the program, 1 year. Say we got no sales for the first 3 months, and then they all came in over the next 9 months at the rate of 1 a month. So each website's only going to get 9 hits in the year that turn into sales, 9 sales a year. $225,000. How much is that over the original $150,000 anyway? Half. 50% gain for the year, right? At the worst possible rung I can set. Because what if there's a lead every 3rd week instead of 4? What if there's a lead every other week? okay, then the profit coming off that thing is double. You know, it's not just 225K back, it's 450K back, which is 3x the original investment just to the angel investor. All right. I've said my piece about all that stuff so that you can get in your head concepts like risk and everything. When we call through, we're going to get enough sales to make your money work for you. And it's going to happen within a week. Even if we are at the low end of our server, right? So I'm not worried. This week is for collecting all the money possible. Next week is for committing. So this week we collect all the money we can towards that 120K. Okay, 120K. Anything beyond that, there's some benefits that just have to do with the fact that I'll treat those guys the same way as I'm treating these guys who are helping us get that system and as high up that ladder as possible. Okay, I'm going to break that down to you in a minute. And then if we come up short, there's two things. One, like I said, we make that second loop through the people to collect the undercurrent monies that are monthly monies. Well, we don't need the monthly monies for the first 1, 2, or 3 months, right? Because that's the original build in the first place anyway. There's nothing we have to sustain. So if we need to cover you with extra monies coming off of that, we got monies coming off of that to cover you, right? To make sure that we get you covered. But I honestly think, but here's the other thing. We can also choose to step into another county. We can just keep making calls, right? Until we lock it in. Again, I only need 1 sale per 1,000 of the smallest package, okay? If you spend 3,000 and I got a small package sale and a big package sale, okay? What is it? That's 4K plus 2,500 equals minus your, what did we say? 4,000. 2,500 divided by $75 websites equals 33 1/3. So 33 websites, 34 websites to cover 2 guys divided by those 2 guys. Okay? That's the equivalent of 16, 17 websites each. I'd really do like 10 for the one guy and 20 for the other. Does that make sense? Or 11 and 12 or whatever, or 11 and 22, whatever it is, something like that, because of their package sizes. One got 5 leads, the other got 10. What do we do with overflow leads? We start offering them either to the guys who were signed up for the overflow, those are the $500 a month guys, and if we run out of them, then we just simply open the door and say, who else wants to join? We're getting more leads than we can handle, right? We'll ask the guys from time to time, hey, are you able to handle more? I'd love to keep selling leads to the same companies that are prepaying for leads. But to the degree that companies go, I can't do more than that, fine. We're going to add on more companies that want to, because we'll be able to prove our point, right? It's not going to be hard. We'll use AI to cold call. Say we're already doing this with your competitors. We should be doing it with you too. They love it. You're going to love it too. We have overflow. We need to off the overflow and no one can handle it. Are you in? Prepay. 5 leads for $500 each, 10 leads for $400 each. Once you get on the program, you're locked in at those prices so that when we go in, further along, we can charge more. That's what we'll tell probably everyone as we onboard them, just to give them a reason to join now. But it's a good thing for them. Here's the point. Are you thinking about how this goes? Say you make 4 calls. I want to make this really clear. Say you make 4 calls in a row that are duds, and they're like an average of, say, 3 minutes each. That's 12 minutes spent on the phone. The bots don't need to take a break. Then say you get a really good call, and it turns into 15 minutes. Okay, 27. Let's say there's like 3 minutes of wait time built in there for somebody to be put on hold and wait for the right guy to answer the phone. What do I know? What's my point about 30 minutes? We can close the deal maybe, or get somebody on a scheduled call every half an hour per caller, per outbound caller. Remember the size of the server and the number of phone numbers? Do you get the difference now? So we could be closing 2 guys an hour, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. The best hour to call in the morning, the best hour to call in the afternoon. Okay? So the question is, how many calls can we make at the same time? How many phone numbers can we have calling at the same time? And that is a function of the server. Okay? That is a function of the license size that we can buy. Okay? That is why I'm reaching out and appealing to you guys about getting in. We should have always been pre-selling leads. That would give us a much bigger, better budget to work with. And then also knowledge about how many guys are ready and willing to buy leads, so we have a plan and we can direct it. Piece of cake. We have an exact goal to accomplish, right? But I don't cold call. I'm shy. I can handle the inbound calls. I can handle the recordings, but not cold calling. I don't cold call. And so I never did it that way. Now we can do it that way. Now, let's come to your exact rewards, because there are 3 cases for you guys. There's those of you who have positions in now, and you don't want to pay anything. You just want to be along for the ride, so where's that put you? Okay, that's one crucial decision. Another crucial decision. You're a guy who says, what if I get in now? I've never gotten in, but I want to ride this wave. What does that mean for me? That's you. Then there's the third case. Dave, I got in, I got some positions, they're kind of sitting there, and now I want to get in on this too. What's that have to do with the here and now and the positions I bought? Okay, so let me cover them. Let me start with the new guy, just because it's the easiest, right? Newest guy. Okay, so a guy who has not got in. I am trying to raise 120K. Come in with whatever size position you can come in with. And what is the plan? I get pre-sales and I pay you double back on your money. And I do that most likely within a single week. Okay? Probably within a week, I'll have double your money back for the position size you bought. So if you bought here, I can get you 6K back in a week. If you bought here, I can get you 6K back in a week. 6X back in a week, I should be saying. Anywhere in the middle, okay? Now, this is the beginning. Because I want to really, really lock this in, and because we have the capacity, and I really want to get up that blasted ladder, I've got 2 pieces I can give you. That's this. 1, I'll let everyone who's paying in order for us to achieve as far up that ladder as we can go, you can roll your money 6 times. You can roll your investment 6 times. It doesn't even have to be your whole investment. Let me show you what that means. It's insane. Let's start with a simple number like $1,000. Okay, I mean, we don't have $1,000 position. The minimum is 3. Heck, let me start with 3. Let's do 6 multiplicans of 2. There's 1, 2. That's week 2. Here's week 3. Okay, not even a month in yet. Week 4. Okay, there's a month in. And then what? Week 5. Week 6. 6. Do you see what's possible? If you were to roll it all over to new positions and extend, what is the actual math? Divided by 3,064. 64 times over on your money. 64 times over on your money in 6 weeks is the forecast. Okay? I don't care if we're only 40 times over on your money in 6 weeks and we're waiting for the rest of the paychecks to come in from guys who only make their payments out once a month. You know, net 30, net 60, net 90 kind of guys, right? So what? I'll let you do a max of 6 rolls on up to all that money, okay? And isn't that nuts? I mean, you're talking about the ability of rolling 3,000, which you could borrow off a credit card today to buy into this thing, to an amount of money high enough that many of you guys could buy a house, or at least pay half down on a house. Just depends on where you live in the world. Okay? Huge amount of money. All right? Why? Because AI cold calling in parallel is a terrific amount of money, especially when you have a plan. We have a plan. We already have the system built, and we're attaching to another system that is already built. That, when we put it all together, makes perfect sense. It's easy for us to control, and we know it, and we have history on it. So we can show it. Even the AI bots can show it. They can show the screenshots by text. They can send the agreements by email. Our entire need to have a support department goes out the window. No cold callers needed. No pre-qualifier callers needed who pre-qual people on the phone. No customer support guys are needed. All of that infrastructure goes poof. And all of the customer resource management, updating their information, marking in their holidays, whatever it is that they want and need, and the kinds of leads they do want to receive word on and the kind they don't. And the fact that they can select the lead they want and swipe the lead they don't, even when they fit their criteria. They prepaid for 5 or 10 leads. It does not mean that they have to take the first 5 or 10 we send them, because we can pitch everyone a lead that should be open in the market until the guys are used up along the way in each of their groups. And each guy who looks is going to be like, not for me, or heck yeah, stuff like that. There'll be some overlap and some mix up in there, but that's no problem. That's part of the explanation, and you know what? It's still good. Anyone who sees a lead and they go to grab it and it just got taken by somebody else means they're going to go after the next one, but they're happy to see that. Leads coming through is great, right? Especially at the pricing we're offering. If they miss a lead, it doesn't cost them a dime. No harm, no foul, okay? So if we text leads out, nobody answers in the first 5 minutes, we'll text it out wider. Somebody's going to grab the lead. We don't want to lose the lead. That's the revenue. It's got to get sold to somebody, okay? And what do you think we'll do? What do you think will happen with the guys who start seeing the leads popping up in the undercurrent ring and they keep missing them, or they're only getting them later in the month because we're taking care of the guys who prepaid for leads first, and then we're opening up overflow leads? They're going to start to get hungry to get on the project. We'll remind them by phone to upgrade, right? Okay, now, I need to explain this. You could come in at 12,000. You could come in at 40,000. I don't care what the numbers. Say it's 12,000 times 64 by the time you've gone through 6 loops. It's a ridiculous amount of money. But because you guys are coming in larger, if you do, right? If I can add all that up this week, if I can get 100K gathered this week, or 120K is the total goal, what happens? We buy in at the highest level. I already told you what that's like. The server can handle 100 phones at once without latency issues. What if you're making 100 calls at the same time? So instead of getting a sale every 45 minutes, you're getting 100 sales every 45 minutes. All right, and you're doing that twice a day. So you're getting like 2.5 sales a day, 2 or 3 times. What would the average amount be? What do we say, like 32.50? I don't care. Times 100. This is why this can work. Okay? I have a goal to fill in all the positions, to make the websites for all the industries, to be cold calling everyone in all these industries, to get this thing flying. Okay? In order to pull it off, we need the tool. And in order to seduce you guys into helping me get the tool at that level, which is incredible and allows, even after this project, when you want to buy in, you can still make half on any positions that are open until they're all taken. I think they're going to start to go really, really fast as this word gets out. Okay? So y'all need to share it, but pay in. Okay, let me continue. What about the guys who already have positions, and what about the guys who have positions who can't pay into this? Here's where you're at. That's why these are crucial decisions. Say you've already got positions and you're contemplating buying into this. Then when you do buy into this, you're on that plan. You can roll some or all that money back in up to 6 times. Each time around, you can do it again. You can do it again. You can do it again. Okay? By the time all of you guys have rolled monies back over, I mean, think about it. What does the average position cost in this whole system? Like $7,500, right? Well, think about it. What if you come in at $7,500? Okay, what would that mean? We need like wait. Let me do it right. 120,000 divided by 7,500 equals like 16. What we could call 16 average positions, right? But by the time you guys have rolled the money over, made 64 times as much. If you were to do that 64 times for the full payout, that'd be 1,024 positions. We've only got like 200 counties in here that are at least 300 people. I think there are 186 counties that are at least 300,000 people. Divided by 186. Okay. That means that we already filled 5.5 total industries. All the positions, for example, or people keep going sideways. If you cannot get a DUI position, you can't afford it because it got taken up from here and you just can't afford here. Go and do accident attorneys, okay? Start filling in accident attorneys, right? Payments kind of similar. Not as many leads per week or whatever, but so what? The pre-sales get to happen. But I don't want you guys to go rampant. Then I have to try to create cold calling processes for every different industry right off the bat. Don't spread unless you have to, okay? So hopefully between DUI and accident attorney, we can cover everyone who wants in to the tune of 120K. If 12 of you got in at an average 10K, or 24 of you got in at an average 5K. I mean, that's all it takes, okay? That's only 24 counties, 12 to 24 counties. Even at that level, and some of you guys might come in higher. Then what's that mean? Shouldn't need to leave DUI at all. Okay, shouldn't need to. Should be able to hang out in there. That way all our eggs are in the one basket. What do I want to make available to all of you? The ability to listen to every call, see the transcript on every call. In the end, I don't care if it's in the industry, it doesn't even have to just be your county. And see the call notes on every call. Okay, that way you can see everything that's going on there. All right. Yeah. So you guys are going to get double your money back on each round. Okay. You guys will get to keep doubling it. Now, you will not make money on the positions themselves. That's one or the other. Okay. One or the other. All right. It's either we prepaid you 2K out like that, probably in a week, or you're in it for your split on the sales going out all year. I wouldn't do that though if you could help it. Think about it this way. Say the average lead's $500 and you get 250 and you paid 7,500 in. Then the first 3 months is building time. And then what do we have? We have your 7,500, okay, divided by, what do you get in 250? Okay, you would need 30 paid leads after 3 months to get your money back before you're in profit, before you hit profit. And you won't be buying a house right away. Okay? But this is insane because this can happen right here, right now. So this is my 2-month project for those who want to leap in. That's because I'm going to collect money for a week. We're going to do the build. So I got a schedule. They may not have time Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. It'll take 1 or 2 days for them to do the build. It might be Thursday and Friday next week. Not this week, next week. Okay, that's 2 weeks. Then what? Then the build's done. So by the following Monday, after we rehearse and thought through anything over the weekend, we've got our builds. They should be profitable already. These guys are already selling leads through the legal industries and the medical industries. They've even gotten AIs to help people figure out how to release their medical records and trade them to the next guy over. AI doing that. Jesus. So then when you can make all these calls at once, it's huge money, like I said. What's the point? You get 6 rolls. It'll take probably 6 weeks, doubling your money per week, which means 64 times the amount of money at the end of 6 weeks, a month and a half. So if you can start by buying, and again, start dang it with DUI, like I said. If you can start by buying anything here, all right, 3K or up, all right, get it. Take it off a credit card or whatever. Let's get the stupid cold calling mechanism going because it's cheap. I had somebody say, how much can it cost to make 1,000 calls? Let's say you make 1,000 calls, and let's say 80% of them get hung up on the spot. I don't know why I want to say that. I want to be dramatic. Or let's say 60% times 0.6 get hung up on the spot. That's 600 calls that got hung up. How much are we getting charged? 0 by this system. They only charge at the full minute marks. So if the call is 58 seconds or less, 59 maybe, there will not be a charge at all. Once there's a charge, it's 11 cents for each next minute, along with Twilio, which charges a cent and a half per minute, and that will start on the first minute. What is 600 calls times a cent and a half? 0.015. Boom. $9. $9 to get hung up on 600 times. But that means hung up within the first minute, probably within 20 seconds. So $9 to get hung up on 600 times. So if we take 600 times 20 seconds, that's how many seconds total are spent. But since it's 100 phone numbers calling at once, it's 2 minutes. We got hung up 600 times in 2 minutes, and then there's 400 regular calls. Okay, 400 that they're going to go back to back. So 100, 100, 100, 100. And if they're good calls, they'll be 10 to 15 minutes each. So it's 4 times 10 to 15 minutes each. An hour. So we'll get through the remaining 400 guys in an hour. And if we made sales on, what do we, I don't know, 400 guys. If we make sales on 70 or 80 guys, somewhere between sales and calendar discussions and inbound to take care of these guys. Somebody goes, what happens if 80 guys schedule on your calendar? Well, first of all, my calendar would be built so I can handle the calls anyway, and I can bring other guys on as we get this to happen faster and faster and deal with it. So, I mean, it's not hard, right? The calls are like 15 minutes each. So, for an hour, it's only 20 hours. You know, those, and that's if all 80 call, and it won't be true. There'll be like 50 who want to talk. The remaining 30 are just going to buy. 50 divided by 4. Okay? You're talking 2 days. I get everyone covered in 2 days. That's if I'm talking to them live. 2 days. And if out of those, you know, the alternatives are, what do we say, like 50 will buy, 30 will call, or whatever it is, 30 will buy, 50 will call. I don't know. Let's say every other guy decides, heck yeah, they're going to buy. They're going to buy either the low package or the high package, 40 times 3250. You know, you're talking about 130K. 130K, right, in pre-sales. And we've gotten that taken care of in a couple of days. Why? Why don't people make ROI like that on Google? You know how they talk about, you know, making $100,000 a month on Google ads, Facebook ads, right? And maybe it costs them, they're doing like a 2x ROI, but they got up to that. So they're spending $50K to make $100K back. The usual conversion rate from clicks is 2%. The usual conversion rate from phone calls is 50%. Why? It's a combination of a guy, every other guy, either buying at the level you've got, or you've got a drop you can offer them that they can handle. Or you find a way that they can get in, or you decide they're coming in solo, you don't want to bother even trying. Right? But by the time the call happens, one way or the other, you're talking with somebody and answering their live questions the way they ask them. Conversions are about 50%. Okay? So the amount of money we're talking about and the speed at which we can do this is insane. Now, this technology is 7-8 weeks old now. 8 weeks old. So far, most people don't know anything about it. Now is the perfect time to buy. And also because the guys who invented it are selling it cheap enough at these levels where people are like, Jesus, I'm buying in. You might think, why aren't they selling even cheaper? Well, first of all, it's expensive as the blue blazes. How many millions do you think it took them to get this going right? Okay, and especially to have builds that they can produce, you know, that allow adding calendar calls, checking the calendar. That's the other thing. When 100 callers are calling at the same time outbound, and a guy said, I need to get scheduled, and another guy says, well, I want to talk to a live guy, and the bunch of people are saying this at the same time. You can't just schedule them all for tomorrow at 2 p.m. So these bots are looking behind the scenes at the calendar to see where open slots are. And they're asking the guy, is Tuesday better for you or Thursday? Oh, Thursday. And then they look at Thursday, and it's like mornings are taken up. So they go, is it better for you in the afternoons or the evenings? Or if the afternoon's taken up, they'll say, is it better in the morning or the evening? If the evening's taken up, they'll say, is it better in the morning or the afternoon? They're doing this in real time. Oh, if that doesn't work out for you, what's a better day? Is Tuesday a better day or Friday a better day? Friday in the mornings, right? That kind of thing. Though mornings is best for you, they'll look and schedule. Yeah, we need this thing. And then as soon as we get it, we can start rolling all this over. And all you have to do is support enough cash so that we can get in at the highest level we can get in, so we can start rolling it. Those of you who buy in, you get to roll your money over twice. You'll make double on your money in probably a week, and you'll get to roll that over 6 times. Okay? If that's 6 weeks or 2.5 months, because we got to wait for the net 30, 60, 90 days, guys, to make their payments, okay. But you'll get 6 immediate rolls. Okay? As soon as you get paid, go buy one or more positions. You know what that really means when you think about it? God knows where you're going to start. Some of you guys will start as low as you can because you need to. Some of you guys want to jump the gun. You get 6 times. Go as high as you can. Go as high as you can go if you can roll 6 times. I'm not capping the total dollar amount. I'm capping the number of rolls you get to do. Go as high as you can, and you get to double 6 times in a row. Could be 6 weeks in a row, which is insane because you could be buying a house at the end of 6 weeks. It's insane. What is 7 times 64? It's 7,000, you know? Okay? It's a huge amount of money, all right? My brother spent $475K on a house in or around Elkhart, Indiana, somewhere near there. And they spent $475K. Their house is 6,200 square feet. 3-story effectively. Really long balconies. The yard, he could ride around in his, what do you call that? Polaris. He's got 2. One for dragging trees he chops down and then runs them through a shredder or whatever it's called, chipper. And then he said he could shoot deer in his backyard. No one's going to mind. That's what $475K will buy you in northern Indiana, okay? Now out here, it won't buy you crap. The house I live in is $1.4 million, and it's 2,100 square feet, 3 bedrooms. Okay? That's what that kind of money pays for out here, all right? So it just depends where you are in the world. But the fact of the matter is, what can you swing, and how fast can you go? Now, what about those of you who also have positions? You already bought your positions. We already promised you up to 10 times over on them. And you decide to get into this thing. When you get into this, we're going to roll you through this. You get your 6 times that you get to go through. As much as you want each time around. If you put in 7K and you take out 14K and you just want to come in on your second roll with 10K or 4K or 7K again, you're totally fine doing that. But by the time you got that second payment out, do you really think you're going to come in with partials? No, especially if it does happen in a week and you realize if Dave already had that kind of cash lying in his pocket, he wouldn't be offering this to us. He'd just be buying the system and rolling with it. But I want to get as high up that ladder as possible. I want to get the $120,000 version of this. Do you know why? Because we can make 100 calls at once and we get 18 builds. One of those builds is going to be for the Web Pages Exporter tool, right? The one that we have on Website Installer under Professional Services. The Web Pages Exporter tool. Because we can cold call companies and tell them, hey, if you have a small website, you really need to add this layer of authority pages. We can do it for you for $5 a page, 100-page minimum order. Are you interested? You can make a lot of money with that thing. That can be a build. And I'll let all the guys who get in on the Web Pages Exporter tool have access to that. They can pay a minor amount of money for that, for calls to go out on their behalf so that all of the sales are incoming. Okay? And they can choose if they want to take live calls or not, but you should. At that point, that's easy. But there shouldn't even be a need because it's a very simple, cheap project. It should just be straight to a payment page. All right. Those of you who have the DCCP, the really big tool, the $25,000, $2,500 a month tool, right? There's going to be a package for you because that can be basically access to all of our packages. Okay, if we got 18 packages, the DCCP does all of it. You can choose an industry and roll with it. Okay. Once we have this tool, everybody who's in our systems or wants to get into our systems can benefit. And those of you who just want to invest, about time that we're doing it with prepaid leads instead of postpaid leads. Prepaid leads means you get your money back faster. Okay. Anyway, it's a hell of a deal. So what about those of you who are coming in but you already have packages? Here's what I want to say. We'll roll through the current one the way we're rolling through it. And as soon as we're done with taking care of your current one, we're going to go back to your other one. And we are going to upgrade the contents of the pages in that county for that industry. We might even talk with you about moving it first. It depends on what's available and if it's in one of the industries we would rather be doing than whatever it is you bought. Okay, you might have bought appliance repair and you may have paid $6,000 for it. And you would rather trade that appliance repair for $6,000, maybe in Chicago or something, for accident attorney if it's still available because DUI will be gone already. And it'll be in whatever the equivalent is for accident attorney for $6,000. Some county there if it's available, right? Or alcohol, drug, and rehab. You can bet we're going to do one for that. Okay? We're going to take the best industries and roll with them. We can do outbound roofing through residential. We can do outbound roofing through commercial. We can do outbound floor, window washing. We can do house painting, carpet cleaning, anything we want. Residential and commercial, according to the rules. But with commercial, there's basically no rules. We can call a company. They can say no. We can call them the next day with a modified offer. They can say no. If they keep saying no, we'll take them off our list. We don't want to waste our money on them. We don't want to peeve them off for no reason. But we have the right to call companies. Anyone has the right to call a company and make an offer, and you get to call them every day, every hour, if it comes to mind, something new. And so you're just trying to seduce them into the sale, so you don't want to drive them insane. But there you have it, right? This is the world that we're in right now. It's insane what we can do and what we're going to be doing. So this is 1 week. I'm going to take as many payments as I can from all you guys who hear. You've got ears to hear what's going on here. You've got eyes, and you're like, you know what? This is it. So for the guys who have the positions already, they get in. We do this whole thing with the 6 times over. What do we do with your other positions? Upgrade the content, switch to the pre-qual so that you get paid at an accelerated rate. And we're trying to get you done with your 10x over this year. Okay? All of you guys already have positions and you don't touch anything. You just want to keep rolling with what you've spent and that's it. What are we going to do with you? As soon as we can, we're going to be upgrading your contents. As soon as we can, we're going to be putting on all the pre-quals, phone calls so that you can get a higher payout per. Because as soon as we can, we're going to pay you out your $10,000 for the year, right? Your $10,000 that we need to pay you out to get you out of the program, right? If we could get you $10,000 within a year, we have the right to get you out of the program or out of your positions, okay? Then you're done. Now, why do you want to think crucially about this? Some of you guys might be like, hey, Dave, this took longer than I wanted and I want to spend more money. Well, first of all, don't blame the player, blame the game. The world changed, GPT changed, Google changed everything. We had to catch up. We figured that out. And then we found out technologies that were changing are becoming more in reach. And just as of 7 weeks ago, no one's bought a position in 7 weeks. 8 weeks ago now, sorry. There is this possibility of outbound cold calling with AI that works. Okay? Which did not exist 9 weeks ago at this level of the game. It was silly 9 weeks ago. It got great 8 weeks ago. We're just catching on because very few people have even figured this out, okay? We want to be on the cutting edge, like we always are, of the technologies and make this thing work, okay? So rethink whether you don't want to spend more money now, because what's the difference? $10,000 over a year or possibly $64,000 over 6 weeks. Very probably $64,000 over 8 to 12 weeks, right? Almost impossible not to happen. And especially because every time we put out some calls, like 20 calls, we're going to sit down and listen. We don't even need to listen. We can read the transcripts. We can check out the call notes. We can listen to the ones we think are worth listening to. And we can see how many are longer, how many are shorter. But even if you paid only within one county, if we go through the whole county and don't get enough money for you, we will start calling into other counties because our job is to pay you double back within a week. It's our biggest goal. And that's okay for us because the extra monies that come in will be able to certainly cover enough websites within those 2 counties. We'll just go get some other guys to want to pay into those counties. That's all. It might be you. We'll even let you know. Hey, we got most of your guys in this county. We started in that county. Do you want to buy into that county? We'll keep going. It's up to you. But that's just it. Our goal is to roll your money over twice a week. Double your money each week, 6 weeks in a row, which adds up to 64 times. And it might be 6 weeks, it might be 8, it might be 12. But I think it's going to be that fast because people have already called and made over $370,000 in a day by having 100 phones call back to back during 2 hours. All right. I don't know if it was just 2 hours or if they dared to do the whole day just to see what they would get out of it. Because by the time you're moving at that level, you can just afford it. Okay. Again, the websites don't have to do a lot. What does it take to make somebody happy? If for $500, let me explain this one more time. Say one guy gets a deal for 5 leads. That's it. And all I got is $500 to work with out of the $2,500 because I paid you $2,000 back for that K that you invested. I divide that by 75. What do I have? I have like 6 websites. So if each website can only get them a lead a month, but I got them 6 or 7, then I covered them for the month. It's already time for them to make another purchase for the next month. You want to buy 5 or 10. And we might be done with it in a month or 2 weeks or 1 week. Hey, guy, you're back out of credit. Do you want to pay for more? Okay. That kind of thing is amazingly cool. We went in on that, but you get in on this quick roll. Okay, because we got to raise a healthy chunk of cash in a week to be able to buy this full system and move forward with it. So those of you who have ears for this and you want in, because we're going to get you. Then we're going to go back to your old positions. We're going to look at capping them out at 10x over whatever you spent. Now, like as soon as we're done with the upfront stuff, we're going to go right to that. So by the time 2 months is over, we're going to go right into that. Okay. And if we can do it sooner, we can do it sooner. We'll see. I mean, if all these calls are happening and we're really twiddling our thumbs, we can already start taking extra monies as they come in to back up those older websites along with doing the new ones. Okay. And then we'll flip to the pre-qual calls anyway. All the phone numbers are going to switch, right? The website will upload with a regular phone number, but then the phone number will do an instant swap for the masking to call into our pre-qual line. Okay. And our pre-qual line can handle everyone. If we get enough money for a bunch of pre-qual line, we've got to cycle it through, or else we have to do it in small spurts. Okay, because otherwise we're going to get busy tones. If we have one guy on one phone and we're calling in, only one call at a time can happen. Okay, the other guy will be notified that the line's busy now. Okay, but if we're doing this and we're going wider, then we could get a lot more phone numbers into play. So if we're just cycling through the leads that way, then the chance of getting a busy tone are next to none, right? Or at least a whole lot slimmer. And that's okay. It just means some leads are lost, but that's right because the next leads are coming, and who knows? It's a crapshoot. They might be better. But this is the point where we can make this money move really, really fast, all right? So first, we'll do you guys who buy in. Second will be if you also had older positions, we'll go cash you out of those. Third will be everyone who paid before, but you're not getting involved in this. We're going to eventually get through to you, and we're going to get you through the system ASAP too. We're going to be able to do it as we're rolling the caches over. We're going to be able to take caches and just keep benefiting all the other positions to get the stuff cashed out, right? But there you go. This is an open door for those of you who want to make a lot of money right now. You've got this week to make that decision, right? If you know you want to come in, but you cannot get the money for like another handful of days or something like that, let me know, all right? But I'm gonna try to make it between right now and the end of Sunday night, and then I want to call in Monday to the company and say we're ready. Here's the amount we can pay. What can we get for this? And line it up at that level. Okay. There you go, guys. That's my entire pitch. It's freaking long, but I think you understand the value of it now. I think you understand your choices. They are crucial, and I really hope that as many of you guys who've been just hooked on everything we've done up till now realize what's going on. First, we're getting hits. I mean, we're getting hits left and right. It's really crazy what we can do as we open into it, okay? And then we can grab all the leads out of anywhere and we can pump them into a simple table to line them up for outbound calls. We can start calling them. The more phone numbers we have, we can call them all at once. You know, what is this? A list of 30 people? We could call all 30 people at the same time if we had 100 phone numbers. It wouldn't even be hard. We can have 30 conversations. It can be the same British guy talking to every single one of them. If we want to try some other voices, we want to try the American female, you know, for some of these DUI leads after all. We can do it. You know, we can see how these things go, right? And we can pump all that, you know, just by having these flow charts for everything. Outbound, pre-qual, customer service flow charts, all the builds that are connected to the systems to pass the leads through, send the texts, send the emails, collect the agreements, denote how many leads each guy can handle, getting them ready, and then web hooking them also into our system so that we can start to literally contact these guys with leads for them and even adjust prices based on the data so that they always feel like every lead is fairly priced. And if they have some extra credit at the end, they'll get another lead for free if it comes to that. But we can certainly set all of this up and complete with all the notes they need for their stuff. And we can either send it to them by text or by email and or email. And we can also take forms. Who wants forms? Who wants to fill out forms? We can ask people who call in on the pre-call, do they prefer to fill out a form? You know, they can do it, right? And we can offer the forms to whoever wants the forms. It'll say what the notes are, but not tell them who, right? Until they buy, right? And then it's a race. Who gets the lead first gives them a call first, right? And yeah, we can control absolutely all of it. So all you guys have to do is hop in and pay. But by doing, that's my ask, right? But by doing it, we're going to get that system by next week. And by the end of next week, we'll be done with whatever builds. If it's a bunch of builds, okay, it might take yet another week. But they'll move fast with us if we come in for a high price. You can bet we're going to get the royal treatment, right? So if we can come in with a large deal and a bunch of builds, they will work with us hard and fast to get that taken care of for us, okay? And because they don't want us upset. They don't want us to say, I want my money back in the next 3 days. I want to make sure it happens. So what's really cool is, as soon as they're done and we start rolling, how fast can we make money is insane. Because we could gather leads and contact them. Gather and contact. The best hours of each day, 5 days a week, if we're trying to get them live every single time, and we will, the amount of money that can come off of this is absolutely insane. And the fact that you guys can roll over your cash flow. Remember I was talking about the retirement thing? What if you could start with $1,000 and you could double it in one cycle, whatever the cycle is, okay? Maybe it's a year. And we said, okay, you can double. Now that you've gotten enough experience that you can double that over the next year or cycle, whatever that is, times 2. Okay? That gets you here. How many years do you have to go before you can hit a retirement amount? 7. This is 2 years. This is 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. And this is the magical part. Because what about that 8th year? Well, it's times 2 minus the 128K equals the other 128K that you're living on. That's why it's retirement. So every year you can just roll the same 128K back in. We're only allowing a 6-time rollover thing because we're trying to buy a capped piece, right? So we only need 128K for all of that. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. But then for all you guys who want to leap in and grab positions, is going to be 10 times back in the first year is what we're going to offer, and it's probably going to happen pretty quick. Still, now's where you want to go because we're going to allow you to keep rolling and rolling, and there are a bunch of positions available. You can bet that when the word starts to spread, this is going to feel like a new form of a launch stock, like an IPO. People are going to leap into this thing, and you can bet that all the bottom layers are going to fill in really fast because, whatever people can afford. Some of the top layers that are the most desirable of all are going to fill in really fast. Have you even tried to do the math on what it would be like to be at the top of this thing and roll over 6 times? But we allow everyone who helps us build or buy this product at the highest level that we can afford, all of you guys who buy into it, even if we get just this far up or this far up, we can still do it, okay? All you guys are going to be in for a 64x roll over 6 weeks or whatever it takes to accomplish the 6 rolls, okay? There you go. Yeah, again, it's not 64 times, it's 6 rolls, up to 64 times. It depends on how much you want to come back in with, because you could come back in with some or all. But if you realize what's happening and you see the money start to flow, pump it back in. For sure, keep it rolling because it's huge. Don't miss the opportunity, right? This is the fastest I can imagine payouts. 64x in 2 months versus 10x in 12 months. That's why you want to be in on this, okay? All right, talk to you later.